words and actions would lead. There are very real and fascinating reasons and explanations for this frustrating phenomenon. But before we talk about those, we must first establish whether our suspicions are true. Do people think they're smarter than they are? Over the past 20 years, two social psychologists have been attempting to answer this question.
Don't use bullet points in a presentation. Look, if you're responsible for driving new sales into a business you own or that you work for, you're probably doing that through a presentation, but do not include bullet points in that presentation, because if you do, you'll kill people with death by PowerPoint. Steve Jobs never used bullet points in his presentation, and neither should you. So what do you do instead? You need to put together what's called a solution framework. Take a look. This is Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Probably heard of that or heard of him. And this is Stephen's 7 habits. But it's formulated into a model, a framework, a blueprint.
Good afternoon, PC Repairs Croydon.
Hi there. Good afternoon. My children's laptop was written a couple of years ago. My own laptop is a billion strong. Won't go beyond this.
Into a model, a framework, a blueprint, a map, a recipe of some kind. If this was just bullet...
David Dunning and Justin Kruger. David Dunning was inspired to begin this research after reading a feature in the 1996 World Almanac about a Pittsburgh bank robber, MacArthur Wheeler, who held up a bank at gunpoint in broad daylight without a mask. But, strangely, his face was covered in lemon juice. When the police arrested him later at his home, he said, "But I wore the juice." He explained how, since lemon juice is sometimes used as invisible ink, he thought that by covering his face in lemon juice, he would somehow become invisible to other people and the security cameras. He apparently took a picture of himself whilst wearing the lemon juice before the robbery to confirm this theory, and remarkably, albeit according to Wheeler's own account, his face was not visible in the photo. Police were never quite able to explain this, but then, this is a man who tried to make himself invisible with lemon juice, so I wouldn't put too much thought into it. Inspired by this blatant idiocy, Dunning teamed up with Kruger and conducted a series of experiments in which they got participants to rate themselves on their grammar, logical reasoning, and sense of humour. They then compared the participants' self-appraisals with the results of a series of tests that they asked them to complete. The studies all concluded that people consistently rate themselves as being far more competent at everything than they actually are. Most people in the studies performed far worse on the tests than they believed they had done. A poll in 1980 conducted by a Swedish psychologist illustrated this nicely when it showed that 93% of American drivers considered their driving ability.
takes just a few minutes to see how much you can save. Firstly, simply hover over and select Generators. Next, tell us your power generation needs. If you're not sure how much power you need each day on your project, select No and tell us a little bit about what facilities you need to power, and select the number of days and hours you need to power the facilities. If you know how many kilowatt hours of power you need each day on your site, just click Yes and enter the kilowatt hours. Next, enter the UK location where you expect your generator to be used. This helps us to assess the solar generation conditions so we can determine the amount of power we can generate from the sun. You can pin on the map or add the address. Next, enter the approximate dates you expect your specific project to start and finish. Or if you plan to use it for an extended period, you can enter a wider date range. Confirm which fuel you plan to use. Select either diesel or HVO and then add in the diesel or HVO cost per litre. Next, add in your labour cost per hour so we can reflect the refuelling labour cost savings in our projections. Click Next to see your results. This may take up to 10 seconds as we connect with our servers. Next, enter your email address to receive a copy of your results straight to your inbox. Your projected savings report is now ready. The savings you can make using the ProPower Solar Hybrid Generator are shown here. You can view the carbon emission savings, fuel usage savings, the fuel cost savings, and the total number of quiet running hours you can operate the ProPower for here. You can compare all these savings to the emissions.
Hello and welcome to Wacky Wednesday. I've already filmed 2 videos today, one about the weather and one about Volkswagen ID buzzes. This, in theory, if I do my editing correctly, will be the 3rd. November 21st, Global News, story by Sean O'Shea. An electric car shop, an Ontario man, was recently told a new battery for his EV could cost more than $50,000. There's nothing new in this story, we know this, but there's a few bits to add. Simrat Such, great name, of Stony Creek, great name, was a true believer in electric vehicles. The first one I had was very reliable, said Such, so he didn't hesitate to trade up. He bought a 2017 Ioniq, Hyundai, and Such was its second owner. The vehicle had already done 69,000 kilometres. The warranty covering the electric charging system was good for 160,000 kilometres. So he figures, I've got 100,000 kilometres to play with here. In October, a warning light appeared on the instrument panel. He took it to the dealer, but technicians couldn't find a problem, and then the light went out. 2 weeks later, Such, still a great name, said the vehicle stopped charging and the Ioniq was back at the dealership. After diagnostic checks, he said technicians determined the battery needed to be replaced. The big one, the mofo. The quoted cost, including the battery, installation and taxes, came to more than $50,000. I was just floored, said Such. The battery failure happened at 172,345 kilometres, so 12,000 kilometres over the warranty.
Would you like to know how ChatGPT found me a £94,020 per month product to sell on Amazon in under 3 minutes? Would that be cool? Well, I'm going to walk you through the exact process I use to get AI to find your product for you, and I'll show you how to launch the product on Amazon in 1 weekend. If this sounds cool, click the link on your screen to build your Amazon business this weekend. I'm offering a free live training this week. So click the link on the screen, enter your details on the following page.
To be fair, I feel like 160,000 kilometre warranty is pretty good on that Hyundai. I felt like I got kicked in the privates, Such said in an interview, and he said he had 2 choices, pay to repair the vehicle or scrap it. Such chose the latter because the cost of repairs exceeded the value of the vehicle. Save the planet, scrap your electric car. He had approached Hyundai Canada, hoping it would pay for all or part of the repairs, even though the warranty had run out.
He said he was directed back to the dealer and he had given up. Where else have we seen recently problems with a manufacturer due to a fault with the product and the manufacturer just saying, it's not us, you need to speak to the dealer? Jaguar. Global News contacted Hyundai and gave the Korea-based automaker several days to investigate the case. Jennifer McCarthy from Hyundai Canada, she's the national manager of public relations, said that comprehensive diagnostic tests were not completed on the vehicle. The vehicle was scrapped by the customer before these diagnostic procedures could be completed, precluding a definitive assessment of the required service. So Jennifer McCarthy basically says, I'm sorry, but Mr. Suchin always do loads more diagnostics on it. Yeah, we were going to do a load more things. Of course we were going to go over and above for this customer. We weren't just going to leave him in the lurch and say you need to pay us $50,000.